Hello everyone. In this video/tutorial, the item of interest is NFC, or Near Field Communication. I will be demonstrating how to program and use NFC stickers with your Android-powered smartphone in order to automate tasks that you might perform on a regular basis. For those of you who are not aware of what NFC is, essentially, it is technology which uses radio communication in order to transfer data between devices. NFC can be found currently in your credit and debit cards. If you've ever paid for something by simply tapping your payment card, this feature was most likely enabled through NFC technology. Furthermore, if you own almost any recent smartphone on the market, aside from Apple's iPhone, it is likely that NFC technology is built into the device. So, on the screen at the moment, you can see that I have an NFC sticker in my hand. These stickers are relatively inexpensive to purchase. I believe you can get about 5 or 6 of them for $2 Canadian off of eBay. At the time of arrival, these stickers are completely blank, which means that they aren't really programmed to do anything. We must program them ourselves in order to automate tasks. Additionally, it should be mentioned that these stickers can be programmed repeatedly, unless, at the time of programming them, you specify to lock them. In this case, they cannot be reprogrammed. I think that the ability to lock NFC tags is a useful feature, particularly if you're interested in using them for marketing purposes. It would most likely be a bad thing if people could modify the URL that a tag placed on advertising material, for example, pointed to. The last thing that I wanted to mention is that NFC tags come in various capacities. The tag in front of me at the moment in time has a capacity of 144 bytes. They also come in a 1 kilobyte capacity. At this point in time, we will go into the tutorial component of this video. I will provide 3 demonstrations on how to program and use an NFC tag. The first demonstration will be by far the easiest, and the best thing about it is that the programmed NFC tag will work with Windows, Android, and BlackBerry devices without needing anything additional. So we downloaded Tagstand Writer from the Play Store, and using it, we will program our NFC tag so that when it is tapped, it will launch a browser and point it to google.com. To program the NFC sticker, hold it at the back of your phone. This is where the NFC antenna is. So let's see if our program tag works. And it launched reddit.com just as it was programmed to do so. To show you that the NFC sticker we programmed using Tagstand Writer works on any device that's NFC enabled, here we have a Galaxy S4. And once again, it launched reddit.com using the default web browser. So in the next couple of demonstrations, let's do something a little bit more complex. We'll be using 2 applications, Trigger and Tasker, which are really popular, in order to program our NFC tags to perform various complex tasks. Before actually using the applications, the first thing that we want to do is enable Tasker tasks to be accessed by external applications. We do this to ensure that Trigger is able to access the tasks that we create. So ensure that Allow External Access is checked off in the Tasker preferences. One additional thing that you should keep in mind is to install Trigger after you've installed Tasker, as some people reported that Trigger did not work with Tasker if it was installed before Tasker was installed. At this point in time, we're ready to make our first task in Tasker. To do this, press the big plus button. In this demonstration, we will be programming our NFC tag to automatically perform actions like disabling Bluetooth, disabling Wi-Fi, enabling data, and launching the music player. We will call this task in car, since these are actions that are normally performed manually when I step into my car. When you initially create a task, you'll be presented with a blank screen where you can add actions. Several actions can be performed within one task. The first action that we want to perform is to enable Bluetooth, since the car uses Bluetooth to connect to my phone. In the filter box below, we can simply type in Bluetooth and we will be presented with all the actions in Tasker related to Bluetooth. To toggle Bluetooth on and off, we want to select the Bluetooth action and not the Bluetooth settings action, as this just launches the Android settings page. Next, we want to change the value of the set variable to on instead of off. This means that when the action is executed when we run the task, it will enable Bluetooth. So now we're just going to add a second action underneath the task in car. In addition to enabling Bluetooth, another thing that we want to do when we're in a car is to disable Wi-Fi, since Wi-Fi unnecessarily drains the battery. So similar to Bluetooth, we're going to set Wi-Fi as off, and now we have two actions underneath our in-car task, Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. I'm just going to follow the same steps that I showed before to add two more actions to our task. In total, we should have 4 actions that will be executed in a linear fashion. By linear fashion, we mean that task 1 will be executed before task 2, task 2 will be executed before task 3, and so on. You can verify that your task will function properly by pressing the play button on the bottom left-hand corner of Tasker. So we just went up one level and now you can see the task itself, which contains our 4 actions. At this point in time, we're going to create another task called out of car, which will do the opposite of what in car did. So I'm just going to quickly fast forward this part since it's exactly the same thing as what I demonstrated before. Within the in-home task, we're going to have 4 actions. One will disable Bluetooth, one will enable Wi-Fi, one will disable mobile data, and the 4th action will cause a pop-up alert that says in-house settings enabled. So at this point in time, we have 2 tasks, one for in-home and one for when we're in the car. Now we need to go into Trigger so that we can program these tasks to launch when we tap the NFC sticker. In Trigger, we need to create a task and to specify NFC as a trigger for the task. As you probably guessed, this will allow us to use NFC as a trigger for our task. The next thing that Trigger wants us to do is to select actions that should be executed when we tap our NFC sticker. We already have a list of actions which we specified in Tasker, so now we simply have to import them into Trigger. The process is fairly simple, as you can see. Make sure you allow Tasker to enable external access of your Tasker tasks, or they will not show up in Trigger. So after specifying the actions for the main task, Trigger also allows you to specify a switch task. What a switch task does is that it allows you to launch separate actions when your NFC tag is tapped again. So in my case, the first time I tap my NFC sticker, it will launch the actions under the in-car Tasker task. When I'm leaving my car, if I tap my NFC sticker again, it will launch the actions within the switch task. This way, I can quickly toggle Bluetooth and other settings by simply tapping on my NFC tag. First tap will always execute the in-car actions, while the second tap will always execute the out-of-car actions. So I'm just going to select the appropriate Tasker task. And now the out-of-car task is added as a switch task. At this point in time, we just need to write to the NFC tag. Let's see if everything works as it's supposed to. And there you have it. The Bluetooth is enabled, the Wi-Fi is off, and it also launched the music player app. So let's see what happens when we tap the NFC tag again. As you probably saw, it turned off Bluetooth, turned on Wi-Fi, and at the same time presented us with a message saying that in-house settings are enabled. So let's do it again and see what happens. And there you have it. We have successfully configured the main and switch task using Trigger. Using Tasker, you can create even more complex actions. For example, you can set variables and create dependencies for actions using if statements. So here I'm going to create a custom variable called time and assign it a value of the current time. This is a pretty unnecessary variable since time is already a variable that's built into Tasker. Next, let's create a set alarm action that depends on the time variable that we just made. In the if statement box, we will set our time variable as the item for which a value comparison will be made. Since it's 9:43 p.m. at the moment, and we want to set the alarm action to be triggered in this demonstration, we're going to specify the if condition so that this action will be triggered as long as a value for the time variable is greater than 1. At 9:43 p.m., it should be around 2100. So let's test it out and see if it works. And there you have it, the alarm is set. So that's a brief overview of how you would use if statements in order to trigger actions. If I were to change the if statement for the set alarm action so that it is only activated when the time is less than 1:20, you'll see that it won't be triggered at the moment in time since the time variable has a value of 2100. Let's try out the task again to see if the set alarm action is still triggered. And as we would expect, the set alarm task is not triggered this time since the conditions for the if statement are not met. That's all I really had to show today regarding Tasker, Trigger, and programming NFC stickers to automate frequently occurring items. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please feel free to leave feedback as I would tremendously appreciate that. Also, feel free to share the video and leave a like if you actually liked it.